A lot of people know about the trench wars in World War I, but I'm going to talk about the wars in the desert. At the start of the war, the British brought troops to the Middle East to defend their oil. But then they made plans to push farther into Turkish territories. After Gallipoli, British commanders decided that the only way to topple the Turks was to provoke their Arab subjects to revolt. Under the Young Turks, Arabs were treated as second-class citizens, and many had begun to talk of throwing off Turkish rule. In October 1914, the British High Commander in Egypt, he was negotiating with the Arab leader, Sharif Hussein of Mecca. He offered to supply money and arms for a revolt against the Turks and promised that the Arabs would be left to rule their own lands after the war. In Cairo, the British set up an Arab bureau whose staff liaised with Arab leaders to build support for the revolt. Among them, there was an idealistic young intelligence officer named T.E. Lawrence, who later became famous as Lawrence of Arabia. As this was happening, British and Indian forces were advancing up the Tigris River into Mesopotamia. They captured a lot of cities along the way, and in May 1915, they pushed north toward Baghdad, which was the regional capital. In November of 1915, British and Indian troops were close to Baghdad when they met tough Turkish resistance. Half of their 8,500 men were killed or wounded, and they retreated to Kut. Soon the Turks surrounded the city and held it under siege. British forces tried to sail up the Tigris to rescue their comrades, but heavy floods blocked their way. In March 1916, Lawrence undertook a secret mission, and he attempted to pay the Turkish generals to end the siege, but they weren't interested. 147 days later, the British surrendered on April 29th. Before the war, Lawrence had learned Arabic and grown familiar with local customs while studying archaeology in the Middle East. At the Arab Bureau, that he gathered information about the Turks' military strategies, their strengths and weaknesses. With the help from Lawrence and the Arab Bureau, Sharif Hussein took up arms against the Turks in June 1916. And 3 months later, Arab forces had captured Mecca, Jeddah, and Taif, and they were advancing north. In October, Lawrence joined Hussein's son Emir Faisal in a charge of part of the Arab army. And here is a picture of him leading their army. He's the one in white. He decided to adopt the Arab dress. This irritated British commanders, but it helped him to gain acceptance among his fellow fighters. The Turkish army far outnumbered Arab forces, so Lawrence advised them to use guerrilla tactics. Guerrilla tactics are kind of like fighting your enemy when you're not. So they did stuff like night raids, and they mined bridges and train lines to sabotage their communications and supplies. This forced the Turks to divert large numbers of troops away from the fighting elsewhere, including Mesopotamia. The British saw their chance to renew their campaign in Mesopotamia, so they sent in reinforcements. Sir Stanley Maude was their captain. He made rapid progress, retaking Kut and capturing Baghdad. With much of Mesopotamia now in Allied hands, and the Arabs in revolt, the Turks were close to defeat.